What is up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about the player that recently got traded to the Celtics. Not Al Horford, Moses Brown. Moses Brown was recently traded from OKC with Al Horford and a second round pick to the Celtics for Kemba and the 16th pick in the draft this year. Moses Brown is a 7'2" center that gets lots of rebounds and can finish at the rim. For the NBA, Moses Brown was what made the McDonald's All-American team in high school and decided to go to the UCLA Bruins, even though he's from New York, and he got offers from schools way closer to his home. As a 5-star recruit, he ended up being UCLA's top recruit that year, which is really tough for a big-name school like UCLA. Like, UCLA isn't as big anymore. Their top player is Johnny Juzang. But at the time, UCLA was really well known as a great program, and I think they are still good, just not as good anymore. In college, he was voted to the all-freshman Pac-12 team. Then he entered the draft, and he went undrafted. His stats weren't eye-popping, so I don't think it's a surprise that he went undrafted. His first season in the NBA he signed a 2-way contract with the Trailblazers, although he played one game with Houston's team in the preseason, which was kind of surprising to me. Then he was released, of course. That's how he got with the Trailblazers. After the Trailblazers, he signed with OKC to the 2020 to the 2021 season, and on a 2-way deal. He showed out in the G League, which he played at the start of the year, and then he got a starting role over Horford and played that starting role throughout the rest of the season, even though he may not have been better than Al Horford yet. Soon into the season, when he was playing really well, he got a contract with OKC. It was a small contract, but getting a contract for him was really big for his motivation and all that. After not making the playoffs, the Thunder looked into stockpile more picks, or just thought they could get Evan Mobley, which they ended up not getting. They got the 6th pick, and they didn't even get their other pick from Houston. So, Moses Brown was shipped away to Boston. Even though he had a career-high points in the last game of the season, and he had career-high points at the time against Boston. So yeah, he also set one of the second fastest double-double in OKC history, which is pretty good if you ask me. They had Russ and KD in more recent years, so that's really impressive. All these stats will be from this past season. Moses Brown played in 43 games this season, and because he was in the G League for a while, then he earned a starting spot over Al Horford, which wasn't hard because OKC is rebuilding. They're giving more minutes to young players. But starting 32 games was impressive for Moses Brown. He shot 54.5% from the field, 6.2 attempts per game, and he shot no three-pointers at all. His effective field goal percentage was 54.5% too. Of course, it wouldn't change if he didn't shoot any threes. And he shot 61.9% from the free throw line on 2.9 attempts per game. Not good. It's good to see him get into the line. He needs to work on that shooting form. That shooting form was very ugly, and I think it'll take a while to refine, but hopefully he can get that shooting form down. He had 8.9 rebounds per game and 0.2 assists per game. His rebounding may indicate he'll be a rebounding center, similar to Tristan Thompson, but the Celtics might try and develop his jump shot, like Blake Griffin when he got in the league. He didn't have a jump shot, but he did a good job at developing it, which would help the Celtics space the floor. He averaged 0.7 steals, 1.1 blocks per game, while having good defense for a center. He needs to work on his defending at the drive because players shooting less than 10 feet to the basket, 58%. and less than 6 feet the basket is 62%. So like he's 7'2", and guys are shooting 58% near the basket. I don't know if it's because of his like muscle mass or something, but he needs to work on that. He may be playing high in the pick and roll too to guard the mid-range /3. With a good defense, he only fouled 2.2 times per game, which isn't a lot. He had 1.1 turnover a game, which isn't great because he wasn't passing at all. But it isn't bad because he only had 0.1 turnover. Like, that's not anything. His season high in points was 24 points in the last game of the season against the Clippers. At the start of the season, he's putting up amazing stats against OKC's G League team and made all G League first team. He soon was brought up from the G League to play with Thunder. Of course, the Thunder are rebuilding, and they wanted him to get some minutes. After a few games with the Thunder, they started to start him over Al Horford to get their young players minutes. This move by OKC paid off. It raised his trade value in the Celtics trade and he had some very good games throughout the season with OKC. But some people wonder if these games were just empty stats. Of course, OKC sucked this year. Everyone knows that. But can he put up good stats on a good team? That's the question this year. We will find out next season. The Celtics are really hoping he puts up good stats. He's that athletic guy they hoped he was, but we'll have to find out. Moses Brown found all his points in the paint this season and didn't shoot much at all, or well. Moses Brown's story is remarkable, but this season has shown us that he still needs to improve to be anything outside of an average NBA center with the Celtics. I know that may sound harsh, but right now he's on track to be an average NBA center. I don't think that necessarily hurts him. Like being a Tristan Thompson, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if he wants to be an all-star or be something more than an average role player, fixing that jump shot might just help, which he didn't show this season. But this season he showed amazing center play in the paint. Taking a look at the Celtics roster right now, Moses Brown might not get much playing time right away because the Celtics have Al Horford, Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, all playing center. Probably. That's what we assume. Celtics might be looking to get rid of Tristan Thompson's contract, about like $10 million a year. But there's presumably still two centers in front of him, depending on how he plays. I think next season he'll be a backup center when Robert Williams gets hurt. And if he plays well enough, he might just earn himself a starting role of the Celtics. Brad Stevens said it best himself. We like him as an upside player. I think he's saying here, Moses Brown is a high-risk player, but in this high risk, he might have really high upside. And the Celtics are really hoping to get that upside right out of him, his athletic upside, his finishing upside. The Celtics are really hoping that he's that high upside player. Moses Brown is very limited offensively. Anything over 8 feet from the basket, he's shooting 9.1%. He needs to work on diversifying his game, adding a mid-range shot, eventually expanding that to the three-point line, but at least adding a mid-range shot, or he'd just be another run and dunk guy. So yeah, I think developing a shot, even a little bit of shot, is very important for his future. When you talk about his upside offensively, it is his athleticism at the rim and his length. If he develops a jump shot, I think he could average up to 20 points a game for the Celtics, but I think learning from Al Horford might be important for him. And the reason I emphasize adding a jump shot so majorly is because if someone goes small ball against him, the team could just sit in the paint against him And now they can just guard the drive from Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Anyone who wants to drive, their center can just sit in the paint because they know Moses Brown is sitting there in the corner. And if he's in the corner, he can't shoot. And then if he's sitting in the paint, well, they can just guard him because he's right there. So that might be difficult if he can't develop a shot. Moses Brown has great upside on defense. He has a length, he has a height. He just needs to develop that IQ that most players already develop. But he's young, so there's a lot of room for improvement, especially since he's young. And yeah, so he just needs to work on his pick and roll defense and stuff like that. Overall, Moses Brown is the guy high ceiling but low floor. I think the next 2 or 3 seasons will tell us how good we'll be in this league. We will also find out if those 20-point games were just empty stats as a career high or anything else from empty stats, like if he can actually play with meaningful minutes. It is promising that he came up big against the Clippers, of course, but like it was the last game of the season. They're not trying to get injured. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. Like and sub if you want. See you next time.